technology makes it better, but the behavior is also getting worse because you are with your mobile phone. You can do anything, anytime, and you shouldn't. So my advice is stop doing business during business. Take time to do certain things, and do not um, tick the box when you are in stress. For example, if you have like a salesperson working outside the company and they are in hotels, in trains, or in airports, they probably use the wireless network from the hotel, and this is like a risk.
Welcome again, dear strategist, and once again, welcome, dear Ben Vetter, who already featured on this channel the last time, kindly elaborating on how do we secure ourselves or defend ourselves from being targeted by actual deepfakes, for example. But while rather usually you have to pay quite a hefty sum to be able to access his expertise, he once again has declared gladly that he would give us a little overview on basics of cybersecurity today, starting with, of course, the human factor. Next up, we will discuss shortly what is actually a VPN, virtual private network, what does that help with and what not. And lastly, the most important thing for every person, every industry or company especially, backups. Welcome again, Ben, and please, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. Just to introduce myself very quickly. My name is Ben Vetter. I'm the managing director and the owner of BW Acht CyberSecurity. We are focusing on the cybersecurity strategy for large and medium-sized companies. And yeah, thanks for invitation. I love to talk to you about all these things because they are very important for the consumers and the business owners. So each business owner is a consumer as well. So let's start with that topic.
Very welcome. Please, we start with the most obvious, the human factor, yet it is very often still a little bit neglected, and we make a little underlying theme for the whole interview will be like, yeah, being overflooded and gliding into complacency, which very often kills security.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I thought about how to talk about this topic. Because everybody knows about phishing and emails and all these things. And each company has like a little program to prevent and start with cyber awareness campaigns. But when you look at your daily life, you will recognize that the massive information you get will lead to not good behavior. So you are doing your business while driving a car, for example, next to the driver, of course, but you are doing your banking account things, checking account things. And that leads, in my opinion, is the worst risk. The biggest risk is your behavior to deal with these circumstances. So the hackers, they understand, they do mass distribution of their AI-driven campaigns, which are much more better than years ago. So in point of like how they are looking, it's really, really the same picture, the same corporate design. They use really exactly the wording. There are no mistakes anymore. They know your name. It's like personalized emails and all that. They already put information from your account into it. So that's the thing. Technology makes it better, but the behavior is also getting worse because you are with your mobile phone. You can do anything, anytime, and you shouldn't. So my advice is stop doing business during business. Take time to do certain things, and do not tick the box when you are in stress, because that's what the hackers using. They penetrate you with a lot of emails, with a lot of 2FA asks, and then you get rid of that and you just want to do your business, and you say, okay, once you say yes, it's done. So then the system has access in the background or whatever on your mobile phone, which is like the best thing to attack, because everything is in your mobile phone, I would suppose. If you don't have a good strategy, you are leaked completely. So be aware of this behavior things. That's my biggest advice, and not to talk about 20 things more. Just one more, for example, because you mentioned it in the other part, is these deepfake things. That's also just another example how artificial intelligence and computer-driven content can be even better. But I think that's for the consumer not the worst problem, because this is a very targeted uh, attack, which costs time and money, and you will not attack somebody with 50,000 euros on its checking account and with a deep fake. That's easier to do. Not focusing on these things, focus on your behavior, how you deal with it. And that's the main reason why we're talking about that.
Yeah, they have become very sophisticated, especially also cloning the visuals of your usual bank, for example. So, as you already said very correctly, the one thing is to never do it in a rush. Usually, this and that can wait until you are back from your trip or something like that if you're between appointments at the moment. But also, especially, like always check the regarding email address for really the minors of details, for example. Yeah, and of course, the standard basics, don't trust any hard drives, for example, to connect on your regarding own devices, but on that we might come back to a follow-up when we are going more into software and maybe even actually get rid of what might have already infested and running silently in the background. But coming to encryption, what
Wait a second.
yeah.
What comes into my mind, what is the use of a password management system? You don't have to type in your passwords. It's like easier. But if it's leaked, your password, they will have access to all of your passwords. So you must protect it very good. And the second thing is, what you told is you have to check the URL of the address you are approaching. And that's the main benefit, in my point of view, of a password manager, because this system, they check the correct address and they only give credentials when the address is correct.
That is definitely something, and I already mentioned if I find this little chart again where it shows you, yeah, you have so many characters in your password and this mix, it might take, if no quantum computer is, but once again coming to sophisticated targeted attacks, it will take so and so long to actually penetrate you or penetrate your systems. And yeah, coming from encryption to encryption, what is a virtual private network? What is it good for? What does it do? What does it not do? Protect you from?
Yeah, it's a system of trust, to say that in advance. Do you trust your ISP, internet service provider, or do you trust the virtual private network publisher with you have a contract with? To explain it in a simple way, when you establish a virtual private network, it's like a castle you have with a lot of doors, and you check at each entrance. You check the people coming to the castle by means of the knights there, or you have like one big tunnel from the city to the castle, and you have installments of knights in at the city part and in at the part of your castle, and you control the people going through that tunnel. That sounds more sophisticated, yes, but it's only then sophisticated when the entrance is in a very good control, because people going through the tunnel, entering the castle, they might immediately be able to access your crown jewels. So, because they have like more people rely more on their authority or whatever. So it's very important. The benefit also of this tunnel system is that nobody from the outside can see who is going through that tunnel, which kind of person, which goods and all that. Yeah? If you want to you have a good lot of gold to transfer from A to B, you wouldn't bring it outside and show what you have. So you put it beneath the ground, and you have not a profile who is coming when the princess is coming or whatever. Mistress. And that's just, let's make it a little bit fun, but it's exactly the same system. And the virtual private network, there's cryptography working also on it, so you can hide your information during these ports. But it's not a protection for malware or credential phishing or whatever. Yes, it hides your user profile. For example, if you have like a salesperson working outside the company and they are in hotels, in trains or in airports, they probably use the wireless network from the hotel, and this is like a risk because if it's not good protected, the wireless network, other people can show the traffic and make it transparent. That will lead to a risk, and it also is easy for profiling and targeting and attacking those persons as in this network, which is not protected. But it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. You have to handle it, manage it, and you put a compliance on it. So even for consumers or in a company environment, the credentials need to be very good and long. We talked about it 5 minutes ago. Right? Yes, you have these. The keys need to be longer. That you need keys with different type of characters and numbers mixed with special lines. So it's not make it too easy for you, and you probably have to add a second layer as well for virtual private network access. You should use 2FA authentication system and all that. Don't be too easy with the handle of this, because then the hacker is very, very quickly hidden in your room where the crown jewels might be.
Yeah, indeed. So, especially when we are not connecting via our own network, but we will come to that and possible penetration strategies, for example, about your unsecured printer, for example, in a coming follow up, for example. But still, it is very recommendable as a basic tool because it masks where you have been surfing, and from that there is always a possibility to reverse engineer who was that, where else was he, and yeah, exploitation possibilities are manifold. So, coming to the point of someone might actually have managed to infiltrate us and means us harm, and drawing from own experience where something was regarding security concerned and was worth a very sophisticated targeting. Um, we were informed that the penetrating party was not able to access, but they were able to wipe like a very big part of the company infrastructure. And gladly, coming to our last topic for today, backups, there were actually, as it should be, a hard drive and a regarding laptop who were never connected to the internet and wider networks at all, where all still was being saved, so total recovery was possible. But possibly there are many people who are not aware that you will come to it soon with a regarding numbers follow or rule. I always learned if your data does not exist in like 3 versions, it does not exist at all, as many say.
Exactly. That's backup strategy is not only a matter of hardware or software, it's a complete process. And even for consumers. And make it very to remember easily, the newest, latest versions of backups, they follow the 32110 strategy and rule. That means you have at least 3 copies on 2 different medias, and one of the copy is not at your house, it's offsite on a different place. depending on the risk, it needs to be more farther away, even on another continent, if you have a big, huge company. And then the backup needs to be offline, one of it at least, and immutable. You cannot change the content on the backup by means of other persons later. And this last one, the zero, is that you have made a zero mistake restore test, so that you really tested the backup 1.5 years ago on your actual infrastructure, and it's working fine. You can access any data you want and handle it as you like, because that's the main thing. The big companies say they don't even put so much effort in testing it, and then they recognize that the software structure, hardware structure is developing too quick. So without a strategy, you will have made all the effort to do the backups, but you can't use it. Private persons here, you have to make a strategy how you will do backups. Will you use like an external drive and a cloud, for example? Will you use the products of the company, the manufacturers, or will you use a third-party thing, a NAS server or anything else? And how will you protect them with keywords, with 2FA authentication, and all that's very important, because you have to access it later as well, so you shouldn't forget your passwords. That's the thing with the Bitcoin guys, And then for the companies, it should be part of the compliance rules of the complete strategy. You have to manage it in terms of risk and budget, because backup strategy is also can cost a lot of money, but it costs more money if you don't have access to the data you need to restore. So that's pretty much everything to say. In all these layers, 3, 2, 1, 1, 0, you have to think in terms of software, hardware, and personal. Who's responsible? Who's a deputy? Who is reliable in that case? So that's why we are existing, like we doing the long-term strategy for the companies. And it's worth investing more time in strategy and then execute the strategy on the long term, instead of changing this all the time, because that confuses the whole chain of reaction, and then it will not work. And that's the hardest thing. If you have a ransomware, yes, and your systems are like blocked and you cannot access anymore, you don't know how far you have to get back to restore. Yes, you even have changed your backups already and poisoned all this data. So it's very important to save your backups as well. And if you want to have a business continuity management, which belongs to backup strategies, you have to think about how to test your data in a labor environment before opening the network again, because you can distribute malware with restores and backups as well. Again, that makes it very difficult and risky. So you need really pros working with your team to manage this and handle it. And this belongs together. The one you made the backup strategy, he's also a solution partner, or she, giving you the business continuity management. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And if the hackers and the people outside getting more sophisticated, we also have to be more sophisticated and work on that strategy. So summed up, for everybody who's listening today, hope you got a little bit more information, and see you soon.
Thank you very much for the elaborations, and yeah, hopefully in the future we can dive a little on other exploitation possibilities and maybe even give some software recommendations, for example. Thank you very much again for your time. See you soon.
For sure. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Take care.